All right, so we're going to take a look at the 5.2 homework. Again, I asked you to use the power rule, not the limit definition of the derivative. If you were attempting to use the limit definition of the derivative, that's great work, but it's not something we're going to worry about this year. So again, the power rule is simply if we've got any variable with an exponent that is a number, we know the derivative is going to be coefficient times exponent minus 1. And don't forget, any constant, or in other words, anything without a variable, has a derivative of 0. So our derivative for x squared, 2 times 1 gets me 2, 1 minus 1 gets me 1, so 2x. 5 times 1 gets me 5, 1 minus 1 gets me 0, so my derivative of x, the derivative of 5x, pardon me, is just 5. And then our derivative of 13 is 0, so we don't bother to write it. Number 3, 3 times 1 gets me 3. 3 minus 1 gets me 2. So I have 3x squared. The derivative, 4x. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 minus 1 gets me x to the 0. And of course, x to the 0 just equals 1. Oh, I did number 3 and 2 out of order. Sorry. So number 2, 2 times 2 gets me 4. 2 minus 1 gets me 1. Negative 1 times 1 gets me negative 1. 1 minus 1 gets me x to the 0. And then, of course, the derivative of anything without a variable is just 0. Number 9 asks for the numeric derivative. It's not going to change the work that I do to get my derivative. 1 times 3 gets me 3. 3 minus 1 gets me 2. But I've got one more step to go. I've got to substitute in 3 to my derivative. And so now I know f prime of 3 is 27. And as was discussed in the help video, that means that the slope of the tangent when x equals 3 is 27. Number 10, another numeric derivative. So again, I use my power rule. Derivative of x squared plus 4x minus 3 is 2x plus 4. I substitute in my variable, and I get 8. And so again, the slope of the tangent when x equals 2 is 8. 14 is another numeric derivative. So once again, I substitute into my derivative. Derivative of x to the 4th gets me 4x cubed. Derivative of 2x squared gets me 4x. I substitute in my 2, get a derivative of 40. And so now I know the slope of my tangent when x equals 2 is 40. Now, multiple choice number 2 is a little tricky in that it's asking you to kind of compare two different ideas that we've been looking at. So the first thing we want to do is address the limit. Of course, whenever we're dealing with a limit, we plug in the number to see what we get. If we get 0 over 0, we can factor, cancel, and readdress the limit. And so I get that the limit is 16. And if I look at the answers, the answer in choice A, its derivative would be 2x. 2 times 8 would be 16. So these two values would match. Now, multiple choice 3 and multiple choice 4 are very similar, and they rely on the fact that the derivative is the slope of the tangent. And so they've drawn us a tangent line with their graphs, and really what's left for me to do is either count the slope between 2 points or pick 2 points on that tangent line and use my y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1 formula for slope to figure out in number 3 that the slope is 2 and that number 4, the slope is 8. We are going to spend another day on this when we look at section 5.3 and 5.4. We're going to practice the power rule quite a bit and talk about tangents a bit more this week, and we'll have a quiz at the end of the week. All right, have a good day.